Starting.
All right. Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. Here we are at the Happy Trees home studio. We're going to walk through this painting of the river market here. And I cheated a little bit today. I went ahead and I drew just the perspective outlines. So I didn't draw everything, but I wanted to just have that in. So that takes a little bit of the work out of it. If you come to one of these classes, this is what's drawn on the canvas for you to start. So there are a few of our 100 examples that we offer that have an outline. This is one of them. But for this first portion, I'm going to just be going in and basically coloring in all the background colors. So this first part, I'm going to be pretty sloppy because I know that I can come up and clean it up later. And we're trying something new today too. We have D-Write on my laptop. We're Zooming. I got Zoom. I'm trying it out. You can still see me. I can see you. And for this painting today, it's the same kit that we've been using. I have a paper plate here. I have the primary colors, yellow, red, blue. I've got brown, black, and white here. And what I'm going to be doing is just kind of going in and showing you how a seemingly complicated painting can be really, really easy to do. So here we go. Oh, I have the same brushes I always used to. I've got kind of a square brush here. Currently the handle's falling off. That's a feature some of my brushes carry. I have a smaller, shorter brush, and then I have a small, skinnier, thin brush. So let's go in, and the first thing I'm going to do is I want to start to get these shadow layers in. So underneath all of these fruits and vegetables is really just a combination of a little bit of brown and a little bit of black paint. The combination of those two, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here, and again, I said I can be a little bit sloppier.
Melissa?
Yes. Yes, Dee?
Are you on your Melissa page or are you on your Happy Trees?
I'm Happy Trees. Can you see me?
Okay.
Make sure, am I landscaped? Because I've been shooting these vertically because I thought for some reason my live video never worked with portrait. Figuring a lot of things out in this quarantine as far as live videos.
It's up. You've been looking good.
All right. So I'm just going around. This is going to be where all of my fruit is back here. So let me just come in. You can see how I'm just rough cutting in these colors. It's not going to look like much for a minute, but it will all come together. So I've got this shadow color in here. Now I'm going to shift gears. I'm going to go in and we're going to take some gray paint. I want to get this little chunk colored in. And then I'm going to come in and work a little bit down here. So I'm going to rinse this brush off. When you rinse your brush, you got to really knock that brush around. Tap, tap, tap. I always rinse my brush and squeeze that moisture out with my cloth. And then I'm going to come in and gray. It doesn't really matter which shade. I'm not going to tell you how many there are either. It's a joke. A little bit of white, and I'm going to take a touch of black. So see how I just kind of mix those together? It makes a gray color. Take a little bit of water on my brush. So I just mix your color up, take your brush, dip it in the water like that, and then go back to your palette and take all that water and kind of mix it up with your paint. And then I'm going to go in and I'm just going to color this in gray, using kind of a horizontal brush stroke there. Okay, so now I've got this gray on my brush, and what I want to do down in here is I want to kind of go in, and I'm just doing some horizontal brush strokes, but you can see I do not stick in one spot when I'm doing this. It's do a stroke and move on to another area, but what I'm doing is I'm getting these little horizontal brush strokes in. I'm going to do a little gray. Then to my gray pile, I'm going to take a little bit of brown. So we're taking that same color, but we're changing the shade up. Go in here. I'm going to do that same kind of thing. Now you can go in if you want to just paint kind of along the edge. I'm just doing these real quick horizontal brush strokes, but what you can see, we've got these different shades. I left a little bit of the white canvas, but you can kind of see how it starts to look like some natural shadows there. Now the last thing I do to tie all of this together, rinse my brush off, and I've already got all these different shades up there, but I'm going to go in with some white paint. And if you take white, it'll really just kind of go in. Let's see, let me get this corner cleaned up. It'll go in and kind of pull everything together. Now, if I go outside the lines a little bit, that's okay, because I'm coming back for all of that. So right now, get something like that. So you've got a bunch of different shades there. We'll come back a little bit later and we will do some shadows underneath here. All right, what's our next section? So now I'm going to go in. I want to start filling these in up here. I kind of just, this is tan, so I'm going to mix up a little bit of just a little white. And I'm going to add just a little bit of brown to that. Tippy toe. Sometimes you stick the corner of your brush. And then I'm going to tippy toe a little bit of yellow. Add a little water to that. All right, so now when I come in here, I'm going to kind of, so you can still see that. All right, so my section, I'm going to just go in and color everything. Let's see. Here. I have to stand up for this. All right. So I'm painting, making sure my brush strokes are kind of following the outline. And I've got some streaks of paint, but that's actually a good thing. That kind of adds to the effect that that's some wood up there. All right. And I'm going to take that same color and let's go right in here. I'm going to mix up a little bit more. So again, that's a little bit of white, touch of brown, touch of yellow.
You have 9 people watching.
All right.
Write a comment if they're here.
Hi guys, are they commenting?
Over here? Not on this side.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I've just got.
Likes and hearts.
I'll think. I'm like, who's watching out there? Say hi so I can say hi back. Some of you may have painted this painting before. Who knows? I've been offering this example for a couple of years now. So I actually just went to the river market last Tuesday. Nobody was there, and my big giant bag of vegetables was $15. So if you need somewhere to go for produce and you don't want to go to a crowded store, that's your best bet right now. So okay, now I just have a few more colors. I want to get all of these sections just filled in with color, and then I can go in and start adding all the fun little highlights and stuff that make it look really cool. So let's see here. I'm going to go in. Let's take brown. And I'm just going to get some brown by itself on my brush. Do a little dip. Now, what I'm gonna,
Break things down.
what's that?
I love how you break things down to see it.
Well, you have
To
to,
be
with
able to see all the shapes.
with this example, and what I was going to point out too, so in here, here, and here, my brush strokes followed the direction of my angles, but then in here, I went horizontal brush stroke. What I'm doing right now is I'm just taking brown paint by itself, and I'm just going down in these, let me get in down here. So if you just do these quick little vertical brush strokes, that's something when you stand back, it kind of looks like wood paneling. So just by changing up the direction of your brush strokes, here's another example. I'm going to take a little bit of brown and a little bit of red.
Well, Sherry Jackson says, hi, cutie.
Hi, Sherry. I love you.
And Carissa Nicole says, hey, Melissa, you know I love your work.
Thank you so much, Carissa. We miss everybody. Cannot wait to be back painting with everyone in person. All right, so I'm coming in this color up here, and you can see how, am I going to paint left-handed? Can she do it? I don't know. Let's see. So when I come in here, I'm going to do kind of another horizontal brush stroke. It's just things like that will give it some texture. Now all of this is all going to get cleaned up. So I'm going to go in, rinsing my brush off again. Every time I wash my brush off, I want to give it a good squeeze on my brush. And what I'm going to do over here in this chunk, I'm going to just do some light blue. So I'm taking a little bit of white and adding just a tiny touch of blue. This blue is so strong. You can see just that pinprick of blue really made a difference. Well, maybe you can or can't see that. It makes a big difference. And what I'm going to do in here is I kind of like to just go in, speaking of just different brush strokes. If I come in here, reach. And again, I'm just trying to get all of this background color filled in. And when we take the class, this is the step where when people have never painted before and they come in, it's hard to communicate to people that the beginning part, it's okay to be sloppy, because when you're not used to doing something, you want every brush stroke to be perfect. And once you do it enough, you start to realize that that beginning part, you can kind of just go through and really get a lot of stuff just sort of slapped on there, and then you go in and do all the details, and that's when you clean it up. So let's see here. I'm going to go in. I've basically got these little guys to do, and I've got this color here. I'm going to come down and start working on these little boxes. Now I'm going to take my small brush now and just get a little bit of brown paint. I'm going to go ahead. There's like these little posts here. And I'm going to fill these in brown. There's another little guy in here. Okay. Let's go down right in here.
Brent Urban says, hi, Melissa.
Hey, Brent. Thanks for watching. You need to tell me more about this live painting thing. He messaged me the other day about some live painting at a festival. When we can have festivals again, it'll happen. Okay. So I've got these 4 posts that I just did with my small brush, plain brown paint. And now I'm going to come in back with my big brush. So the color that I'm going to mix up for this, I imagine these are they've got to be probably like cedar. I don't know. What kind of wood would you put? But it's some kind of wood that's got a little bit of an orange tint to it. So I'm going to take a little bit of yellow. I use the sides of my palette a lot. I'm going to take a little tiny touch of red. It's really, really strong. So it doesn't need much. And I'm going to take a little bit of brown. So for my wooden boxes, my color is yellow, red, and a little bit of brown. I'm going to add some water to that paint. And then I'm just going to come in, horizontal brush strokes here. Dee, can you see that okay on your screen?
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting looking at the Facebook Live screen and then look Zoom screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's much clearer than it on Facebook on the Zoom. Well, it's clear, but it's very golden tones on the Zoom.
Huh. Well, I'll have to go back and.
No, I just think how it picks it up.
Yeah.
It just picks it up.
I wonder if it's got like a certain filter or something.
Kathy Ramey says, miss your classes.
I miss you guys too. Oh my gosh. Tell Valerie I said hi. All right, so I'm just kind of coloring.
So,
Yeah. Oh, were you? So I'm doing.
I guess I lost you. So it seems what you're doing now is doing like the background of the canvas, right? Like when you normally get a canvas prepared with the background of the color.
Mm-hmm.
What you're doing now, sections and getting the background prepared.
Right.
And
So
then do your
the drawing that I did cut the canvas up into the different pieces, and I knew that each of those pieces was going to get a certain color to them. So I am kind of going through this part kind of quick because I don't know. I guess it's fun to watch people color stuff in, but
I like it.
But really it's going to be all the stuff that happens on top of this. So when I'm teaching, that is usually the main challenge, is just to get people to understand and kind of loosen up in that first part and just get the color on. Don't even worry about your outlines or being perfect with your brush strokes, because it just doesn't matter, because you come in, you can do that, but you're doing your work twice. So you don't have to do it the first time around. You can come in and clean it all up later, because the steps that are built into the painting are going to address all this sloppiness I have here. Oh, I did forget, I do want to do a slightly lighter, I want to do like a lighter gray color. I forgot this little chunk right here. So see that? Like I just painted over that. Don't care. I'll smush it out with my hand.
But your teaching method really works, because when you look at a class you've given with all these different abilities, everybody gets it, and everybody is very successful, I think. So,
Well, thank
your method
you.
of teaching, I think, really good and works.
I sometimes I refer to it as boiling out the fat. It's like we just strip everything that is just not necessary and kind of extra and just condense it into simple, because like right now, let's see, I think I'm on my last little square, and then I'm going to go in and start adding all this stuff, which looks crazy intricate, but I think I've actually had a 9-year-old come and do this painting before, and it looked good. So you can look on. Yeah, I try to keep a lot of my Instagram, or I think I even have an album on Facebook called like My Awesome Customers, where you can go in and see everybody's example. Now, I did not go in and tell you how to do this color, but it's going to be the same color kind of that we go in to do these beams. So that's the blue that I was using with just a tiny touch of yellow. So it's like a real deep green. Now the last thing I'm going to do before I go in and start doing details, well, this is a detail, I guess. I have a whole nother little fruit stand back here, but I like to just go ahead and go in and get all of that blue on there first. And then I can come in and, oops. So for this, I want my small brush, not the tiny brush. I'm going to take a little gray here. I'm just going to come in and do, let's see. I'm painting at some serious weird angles lately.
Kathy Ramey says, she's right, you make it seem easy. I'm always shocked at how great these paintings turn out.
Okay, so Kathy, actually, if you look, I have a few different photos I'll rotate through for my Paint Your Pet nights, but one of them is Kathy painting her animal who looked super cute, her dog. So yeah, you've been to lots of classes. When somebody sits there and breaks it all down for you, I try to do these in 30 minutes. I'm going to go a little bit over today, but usually that's about the time it takes. But you'll see kind of once you get to this point, what I'm doing is this is kind of like the roof here. And then I'm just going to do this line and I'm going to come in and just do some vertical lines. This is like a little fruit stand table. Now, this is kind of right before I go in and start putting all these little details on. But you're going to want to go in and I'm going to take that brown and black. What I'm going to do back here is I'm just going to go in, small brush. See how I'm just pushing that brush. So that's going to have some fruit on it back there. And I also need to do that up here in the forefront. So I kind of left all this a little bit sloppy, but that's because I'm going in and I'm loading up my brush. This is my big brush and I've got some brown and some black. Not a ton of paint, but you kind of want your brush to be a little bushy. And then I'm going to go in. And so what I'm doing, I'm kind of giving this a little bit of a top here to where it can look like we've got some produce on here. This is the same trick I use for like the top of tree lines. It's actually the way my puffy clouds start out. We'll do that in another video.
Well, Kathy says that her little pup that she painted a few weeks ago just passed away.
Oh,
And she's so glad that she painted him.
it's been a sad week. It's been a few. Well, I'm sorry, Kathy.
And that you created a great memory of
Oh.
him.
I hope you've got that up on the wall. Sherry's on here. Sherry lost her mom this week, and it was my grandma. So I didn't know if I wanted to say that, but I'm like, hey, now we're talking about it. So it's a tough time for a lot of people, and this is a strange time too. But this is helpful. This makes me feel better. It's good to watch. So what you can see here is I've just gone in and I kind of bushed up the top of my shadow. So I wanted to go in and get the shadow in. I got the colors around it. And then I just kind of went in and did a little this. Now, this part, it seems pretty treacherous to go in there. And you do have to have a little bit of a, if you feel like you don't have a steady hand, a lot of times what I see, okay, so I'm going to mix this color up. It's a little bit of blue, a little bit of yellow. I'm going to add a little water. So right in along here, bring this over closer. So I'm going to come in right along this edge. So we get, that kind of cleans up that whole outline there. I'm going to come in just a little bit to the inside. I'm going to do another one. And so trying to show some perspective here. So everything is bigger the closer it is to us, and then gets smaller as it goes away. So as I'm coming in, these triangles in a sense are just, that's all they are. We're drawing triangles. And we'll come in right here. So when people are nervous to do a line like this, here's what I notice. Down the line, they do this because you're scared, but really it's very hard to get a clean line like that. Your best bet is just to go in, and if you run out of paint, it's okay. At least you've got a line, and then we can kind of go in and fix that up a little bit. There's no rules. I can make that a little fatter if I want. And then I'm just going to have one more right here. Well, I say one more. We got a few more to go. But you can see what I'm doing is I'm adding this dramatic perspective, but I'm also cleaning up all of my work because this color is dark enough. It's going to... This is telling me our meeting's almost over, Dee.
Yeah, and I'm probably gonna drop off. I mean, I can't help but drop off unless they might be saying. But I'll still be watching.
Okay. Well, we did good. My first Zoom meeting and live video at the same time.
It says, here's a gift from Zoom.
Oh, we're getting a
It
gift.
says, here's a gift from Zoom. We have removed the 40 minutes time limit on your next group meeting.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Well,
we still drop off. Sorry.
All right. Well, thank you,
We'll see what
Dee.
happens.
I will talk to you soon.
We'll get better. I'll stay on until they turn the lights
Kick
off.
you off. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I've got all these outlined up here. Now I'm going to go in. Got to make some big moves here. So we've got this archway, which is going to come something like that. So I get my line in, and then I can go in and clean it up. Okay, pretty good. Now I'm going to have one just peeking right up here. Now when I'm doing these, I'm just looking at the one I did previously and trying to match that same arch. All right, I'm going to come down. Let's see. So let's do another one right here. All right. So then I'm going to come in. We've got this pole that's going to come. Let's do like right here. So I'm adding this vertical pole. Another. Let's see. Okay, we've got to get into some small ones, and I'm going to use my tiny brush for that. But if we have this pole here, I'm going to come in and I'm going to add another pole right here. We got to keep the structure up. Okay. Now I'm going to go in and just do like a little, these kind of. So now as I'm going to go in and start getting into these tiny ones, I'm going to get my smaller thin brush, add a little bit of water, and let's go in and just and then I'm letting this paint purposefully kind of wear off my brush because I want it to get fainter the further away it is. Okay, and then we've got same color. So I did all of these. I'm gonna come in, we've got some vertical lines right in here. It's almost like these are little windows. Like, is that the hibachi house in here? Or this is delicious. And I'm gonna have these get smaller too as we go. All right. I've got a few more things to add up here. I'm gonna add a couple little lights over here. Then we're gonna be getting ready to the point where I'm gonna go in and add some shadows, put some fruit on here. The grand finale will be the scale here. Okay, so I've got my poles. I need to do another pole right in.
Wonderful.
Thank you. It doesn't look like much for the first 20 minutes, and then it can start to come together.
Oh, but it does, because at the beginning, if you just accept the shapes you're telling us to make, and accept, now we're filling in the color, background color texture in the shapes,
Mm-hmm.
and then now you're putting in, what, you had a term for it, this is the, putting on the fat or something?
Oh, yeah. Well, I said I boil the fat to just get rid of all the unnecessary stuff. Not that fat is unnecessary. I can have that. I don't have to. But just to get it, so now this is kind of the part where it's like, what are you doing? Well, it has to have these little, once I get all of these symmetrical lines that make sense, you have to come in and just kind of, so I've got a line that goes from here to here, holding this pole up, and then something's got to hold this pole up. So you just got to make sure that these two run parallel. And I think I might even go in, I'm going to make this one a little thicker because it's closer to us. All right, so we've got our structures in there. I'm going to just add a couple little lights to this window. I'm going to take white and some yellow. My palette's getting messy. And let's just go in. I just push my brush down and twist it. You'll get a nice little color. Boom. And then these can just get smaller as they go. I'm going to go in also with that same, I'm going to lighten that up. I just added a little bit of white to this. And I'm not going to go in and do full lines in between this window, but I just kind of, I mean, this is my rendition of the river market. These are just here to add some extra interest. I'm going to go in, just do a little highlight right in here, just to kind of make it stand out. And again, I paint with my fingers a lot. And now I'm going to go in with my tiny brush, take a little bit of white. So I want to go in and on all these posts. I'm going to add a little highlight. Again, if it looks too stark to you, just run your finger over it.
So now you're adding where the light would be reflecting on.
Yeah, it's just really it's just giving these, since these poles are a little bit darker, it really helps them to just kind of stand out. So yeah, right now I'm just doing these little highlights. I'm doing them on the right side of the pole, and it just makes them kind of pop out a little bit more. I even like to come in and just do some little, do a different color or something. Oh, maybe I got some black on there. No big deal. But see, if you just go in and add different tones to certain things, it just makes it a little bit more interesting. So let's see. I'm going to take that. Go ahead.
Is that giving it more depth?
I call it, I just call it, it gives it a little pop. It's like when you go in and you put the pop filter on your phone, it makes the dark darker. It just brings out the contrast a little bit more. I'm going to come in and do a little white highlight here. Okay, I think we're ready for, oh, all right, I'm going in with the black and brown mixture. Now I'm on my small brush right now, not the tiny one. But what we want to do is we got to come in here. This is fun. Okay, so I come in, I do a pretty thick line. And this is brown and black. And then I'm going to go in and just quickly, and I'm going to do one side at a time here. So the two-step process. So this is kind of giving it, going to give this path a little bit more shadow. So I just put all this paint on with my small brush. Now I'm going in with the big brush, and I've rinsed it out and I've dried it out. Actually, I do want a little bit of water on there. But what I'm going to do is I'm just coming along the line. Now this paint is still wet. We're working with acrylics here, so they do dry quickly. And that's why I say you definitely want to do one side at a time. If you tried to go in, all right, so I'm going to add a little bit of shadow to that other side.
Sarah Elizabeth says, I got some paints for Christmas and now you've inspired me to break them out tomorrow.
Yay! Get you some primary colors. You can paint anything. I usually use 2 brushes, but we're doing 3 today because we're fancy. And now that I have Zoom, I mean, I'm going to be trying to do some online lessons. I've never done that before, but certainly can try. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of going in. Remember I said we could clean everything up a little bit later. So I'm kind of coming in right around this area. Just wait till we get to the fruit. All right, so I'm just dragging this out. Doesn't really matter because all we're going to do is we're going to take our brush. So the first step that we did when we came in and worked on this path, we'd already got some pretty good texture. But now we can see that depth from, just a little bit of brown tone back in here. All right. Okay, so all these little details, these little tiny things, I'm going to go in and just add, this is my tiny brush, the little brown paint. Now I'm not trying to draw each individual wood plank. If you go in and you just run your brush, general direction, your eye's going to translate it as, oh, it's some wood grains. We're going to go horizontal here. And here. And even if you get like a real thick spot, it's fine. Just go in. Okay. And the reason I did this color first was because I wanted it to be really dry to come in and show you guys some fruit. So this is kind of a fun part. Taking that small brush. I've got some pineapple looking things. Taking a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow, and I'm just coming in. It's not enough yellow. Let's see. Doing kind of just like these little circular shapes. You're like, that does not look like a pineapple. But I come in, I kind of smush it up a little and take my tiny brush. Let's say I come in with a green color. And just right here on the top, go in and add some little green. Now there's no other fruit that looks like that. So your brain says, okay, that must be a pineapple. Especially when it's in combination with a bunch of other fruits. Next to that, again, just take, I'm going to do a different shade of green. Let me take the one on a little bit more of the yellow side. So yellow and blue make green. I'm coming in. Now I'm just going to, these are just going to be some greens. So you can see I'm just letting my brush go a bunch of different directions here. Now the kicker is when you come in with a little bit of a highlight here. And take some white. Now this paint's still wet. So if you have kind of this combination of white and green, I'm going to come back in a little bit with like a lighter. So you get all these different shades. And now you've got...
The camera crew's doing
good job?
All right.
All right.
your camera. Just pan down.
Pan down what?
Oh, I just panned down to the paints.
Oh, I did. I see. I'm not even paying attention. I'm like, gotta get this fruit on here. Okay, now I'm gonna do some bread. These little... So the key to this, I did the green and then I went in with the highlight. Same thing, like that red looks fine. But if I go in and I take just a little bit of white and let it highlight in a few spots. Okay. Now over here, I'm trying to keep most of the fruits are just kind of generic colors because you just don't want to get into drawing each and every fruit. But right down in here, let's see, let's take a little, maybe some coconuts, you know. So if I come in and I'm just going to do kind of these little round, like almost like scalloped shape here. And I'm just going to kind of go in clear that out. But again, it really pops when you go in. A little highlight. You can make that noise. You need to. I need to. All right, so we've got something up there. Now, bananas are pretty recognizable. Let's do a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow. My yellow has been completely slaughtered by all of them. There we go. These are going to be some maybe slightly green bananas. All right, so I just go in and just kind of do your basic banana. 3 bananas in a bunch. But then just kind of go in. You don't have to do them, don't do them all the same direction. And don't do too many either because it's more work. You don't have to. Little highlight. And I'm going to do all right. Now the rest of all of this area here, I'm just going to use my small brush and I'm going to make some different colors. So I'll do some purple. When I do purple, I usually start with white and a little bit of red. So I make pink first and then I add the tiniest touch of blue. Let's do... And since we have the purple mixed up, let's go ahead and put something purple back here because these are all going to get... And maybe we've got a little something, that color right here. Don't forget your highlights. And let's do a little bit of red. Something red's over here. That looks good. This looks better. Let's do maybe some I'm gonna do some more greens here. Let's just do some more in here too. So real easy. I'm not trying to do anything too complicated. You'll come in and do a little highlight on my greens. Let's give a little something back here. Okay, I've got a couple little fruits. Back here.
Kathy says, now I get what you mean about stepping back to see how it really looks.
Yeah, if I went and showed everybody like super zoom in and catch all my brushstroke mistakes. But yeah, when you're painting it, you can see every brushstroke, and sometimes people don't like that. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I know I said that the scale was going to be the grand finale.
All right.
Are you almost, your arms hurting?
Oh, they are, but I was wanting the scale in there, I thought.
Oh, I'm giving it. I'm
Okay.
doing it. It's going to take me 2 seconds. All right, so this is going to be the grand finale on the painting. Shop at the city market.
Shop at your local farmers markets.
Shop at your local farmers market. I actually thought I was going to maybe go out with a song. That would be fun. I wrote a song for my local community farm that I help out at, and that is Kansas City Farm School at Gibbs Road. And they have a big greenhouse out there, and they do amazing things. And I wrote a little song for them, but I felt like it fit with this theme. So I'm just very. What'd you say, Dee?
Are you gonna sing to us?
I think so. Is that okay?
Oh, yay.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, yep.
Okay, let's put some chains on this. There we go. Maybe one little highlight. All right. There we go.
Yeah.
And where's my guitar?
It's over at the table.
Okay. Oh gosh, I gotta aim to the mess now. You guys weren't supposed to see this angle.
Well, it's a special event.
Treat.
Yeah.
Oh great, my guitar strap's messed up. I just tuned it. I hope it's still in tune. Huh? I know how to. I'll tune it again if I have to, but I like to keep these videos not super long, but yeah. So we have a lot of time off right now. I spent the day in the garden. It's a nice thing to do for your mental health.
Can Zoom see you? Can I see you over here?
Can you see me? Oh wait.
Yes.
There we go.
Okay. All right, so yeah, this is a song I wrote for Kansas City Farm School at Gibbs Road, but it applies to farming in general and just taking charge of our destiny. It's one of the lines in the song. Good things are growing down on old Gibbs Road. They're giving power to the people using shovels and hoes to grow seeds that they sow. Underneath the big blue Kansas sky, folks are coming to the farm with the hopes to unify all walks of life. We're giving back to the land, taking charge of our destiny. We can plant a little seed and unleash an opportunity. Unfortunately, due to inequality, not all communities have access to fruits and veggies. But health is ours to reap. We don't have to rely on the powers that be. Change starts here with you and me. Hey, hey, let's learn to farm today. It's a new kind of school, give us tools that'll help us survive. The knowledge isn't lost, just forgotten, we can help it revive. Put our devices aside and interact with other human beings. After the quarantine, digging in the dirt, making friends with the birds and the bees. Digging in the dirt, making friends with the birds and the bees. I'm sure I'm gonna hate this angle of up under my chin, but thank you guys for tuning in and listening and watching. And thank you, Creative Lives Unite. We'll do this again on Wednesday. Thank you so much.
Good
Bye,
night.
everybody.